Welcome to Things You Don't Know. Uh, today, we're looking at 12 confirmed illnesses, 4 hospitalizations, and a recall involving frozen organic blueberries distributed across at least 8 states. The product looked ordinary, carried an organic label, and may still be sitting in people's freezers.
Now, I have to say, this story feels especially close to me. There's been several people that I know in Virginia that have been hospitalized after severe gastrointestinal illnesses they believe came from contaminated produce. Now, okay, I need to make a very important distinction here, guys. Their cases have not been publicly confirmed as part of the specific blueberry outbreak. The current federal report lists confirmed illnesses in Florida and Georgia, even though the recalled blueberries were also distributed in Virginia.
Yeah, and more recent news information suggests that it's been in several other states too.
Yes, it
Um,
has.
Michigan. I don't think it's been in New Jersey yet, has it, Dr. Dineen?
No, we were warned about recalls on certain vegetables, but as far as I know, there's been no direct illnesses yet.
Okay. Personal reports can help identify an outbreak, but investigators need laboratory testing, interviews, purchase records, and genetic comparisons before formally linking a patient to a particular food. So today, we'll examine the blueberry recall, how bacteria entered the produce supply, symptoms consumers should watch for, and whether nearby drilling, fracking, manure, irrigation water, or processing practices could contribute to the contamination. The FDA's July 6, 2026 update notes that 12 people had been infected with E. coli. 4 were hospitalized, and no deaths had been reported at that time. Illnesses began between May 11 and June 5. The recalled product is Greenwise brand organic frozen blueberries in 10-ounce bags. The affected packages carry lot code 60401 and best by date of February 9, 2028. They were shipped to Publix stores in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. The FDA also said the berries might have reached additional retailers, but as of the date of the confirmed information that we have, those retailers had not been identified publicly.
That's right, Dr. Weaver. So consumers should not at all assume that the problem is over because the product is no longer prominently being displayed in stores. Frozen fruit can remain in a home freezer for months or even years. People should check the actual bag. They should check the lot number and they should check the best buy date as well. Anyone who removes the berries from their original package and cannot identify them should throw them away rather than taking a chance.
We should also be careful about store names. Publix is the only retail chain specifically identified in the current blueberry advisory. Walmart and Kroger have not been officially named in connection with those blueberries, and here in New Jersey, we were encouraged to watch out for ShopRite and Walmart as well. However, the larger concern is not limited to one store. In 2024, an E. coli 0121H19 outbreak was linked to organic whole and baby carrots sold nationally under numerous labels. Those labels included Market Side, which is associated with Walmart, along with Kroger and Simple Truth products. That carrot outbreak caused 48 confirmed illnesses, 20 hospitalizations, and 1 death. The point is not that one supermarket is less safe than another. The point is that one contaminated supplier can distribute food through many brands and retail systems.
And the amazing thing here is that most customers would never know that those different store brands might have come from the same grower or the same processing system. We tend to think of a store label as a separate product, but several labels can trace back to the same farm or the same packing facility. That's why people need to check the specific product information during a recall rather than assuming everything from one store is dangerous or that everything from another store is safe. It's very serious. Now, let's explain what people might actually experience because stomach illness can sound less serious than it is. Symptoms of Shiga producing E. coli, often called STEC, commonly include intense stomach cramps, diarrhea that may become bloody, nausea, vomiting, and sometimes fever. Symptoms usually begin about 3 or 4 days after exposure, but they can appear early or as many as 9 days later. That delay can make it difficult for people to remember everything they ate.
Most people recover in approximately 5 to 7 days, but some infections become more serious. A dangerous complication, listen to this, is hemolytic uremic syndrome, or HUS. Now, HUS damages small blood vessels that can cause kidney failure. It's one of the main reasons why patients with E. coli infections require hospitalization.
Who faces the greatest risk?
Well, anyone can become seriously ill, but young children, older adults, and people with weakened immune systems are especially vulnerable. Warning signs requiring medical attention include bloody diarrhea, blood in the urine, a fever above 102, vomiting or diarrhea lasting more than 2 days, and signs of dehydration. Possible signs of HUS, including urinating less frequently, unusual paleness, unexplained bruising, blood in the urine, extreme fatigue, irritability, or reduced alertness. That's a real wide range of symptoms. But those symptoms that I just mentioned require immediate medical evaluation.
Yes, you're right, Dr. Weaver. That is urgent. And people also should not automatically treat severe diarrhea with whatever medication happens to be in the cabinet. Certain anti diarrheal medicines may be inappropriate during a suspecting STEC infection. The safest response is to contact a medical professional immediately. Explain that contaminated produce may have been eaten and follow that professional's instructions.
Exactly. Consumers should also report suspected foodborne illness. Those reports can help health departments identify clusters that otherwise appear to be unrelated cases. What that means is people can have a lot of the symptoms and say, oh, it's just a bug, it's just, whatever, and kind of ignore it. And that's not the best thing to do because it could be something that is far more dangerous and widespread than that. Produce can become contaminated at almost any point between the field and the kitchen, and even before that. Possible sources include animal waste entering irrigation water, contaminated soil, flooding, improperly treated manure, dirty harvesting equipment, unclean processing machinery, contaminated wash water, inadequate worker hygiene, and cross contamination during packaging or transportation.
And produce is different from foods that are normally cooked before eating them. Raw lettuce, berries, herbs, sprouts, tomatoes, cucumbers, and melons often reach the consumer without a final heating step capable of killing bacteria. Frozen fruit presents another misconception. Freezing stops most bacterial growth, but it does not reliably kill all bacteria. Once the food thaws, surviving bacteria can become active again.
Modern distribution also changes the size of an outbreak. A century ago, contaminated produce might have sickened customers in one town or one region. Today, produce from one farm may enter a processing facility, be divided among several brands, pass through multiple distribution centers, and reach stores in many states. A local contamination event can therefore become a multi state investigation.
Now, if it's done correctly, processing can improve safety, but it can also create additional opportunities for contamination. Cutting damages the natural surface of fruits and vegetables. Mixing produce from different farms can spread contamination through a larger batch. A contaminated conveyor belt or contaminated wash system can expose food that was originally clean. That does not mean packaged produce is always more dangerous. It means sanitation, water quality, temperature control, testing, and traceability have to work consistently.
There is also an important difference between contamination on the surface and contamination that becomes trapped in damaged tissue or internal portions of a plant. Washing can reduce bacteria on the outside, but it cannot guarantee that all harmful organisms have been removed.
Foodborne illness is not a new problem, but investigators are now better able to connect cases occurring in different states. Whole genome sequencing allows public health laboratories to compare the genetic patterns of bacteria from different patients. When those patterns closely match, investigators can recognize that people separated by hundreds of miles may have been exposed to the same contaminated food.
Better detection can make it look as though every outbreak is new when some problems might previously have gone unidentified. But repeated outbreaks also show genuine weaknesses in the system. In 2024, romaine lettuce was linked to an E. coli outbreak involving 89 illnesses. Slivered onions served at McDonald's were linked to 104 illnesses, 34 hospitalizations, and even one death.
Scientists are also following persistent bacterial strains. One example is REPEXH01. It's a strain of E. coli. First detected in 2017, the CDC has connected it to hundreds of illnesses and 14 investigated outbreaks involving different sources, including romaine lettuce, ground beef, and recreational water. REPEXHO is not a strain currently linked to the blueberries. The blueberry strain it's a different strain of E. coli. But the persistent strain demonstrates that certain bacterial populations can remain in agriculture or environmental systems for years.
And Dr. Weaver, that changes the question. Investigators are not always looking for a single careless worker or one dirty machine. They may be dealing with bacteria circulating through animals, water, soil, wildlife farms, and processing environments.
Now we come to the more controversial question. Could fracking, oil drilling, or other industrial activity near farmland contribute to producing contamination?
Hydraulic fracking wastewater systems can affect water resources under certain conditions. Documented risks include spills, leaking storage systems, inadequate wastewater treatment, improperly constructed wells, and disposal in unlined pits. The Environmental Protection Agency has found situations in which activities associated with the hydraulic fracturing water cycle affected drinking water resources.
Yes, Dr. Dineen, but Chemical contamination and bacterial contamination are not automatically the same thing. Fracking fluids may contain industrial chemicals, salts, metals, or naturally occurring radioactive materials brought up from underground. Those are very serious environmental concerns. Yes, they are, but does not directly explain how a strain of intestinal E. coli entered a bag of blueberries.
Correct. There is currently no evidence linking this blueberry outbreak to fracking or drilling. Investigators have not yet announced the contamination source, which is a little scary. The organisms most commonly involved in producing outbreaks, STEC, Salmonella, and Listeria, are generally associated with animals, fecal contamination, soil, water, food processing environments, or human handling.
An indirect connection remains theoretically possible. Industrial activity could damage a water source, change drainage patterns, create wastewater spills, or place additional pressure on local water systems. But describing that as a cause requires evidence from water samples, environmental testing, farm records, and the outbreak investigation. At present, that evidence has not been presented.
So the responsible conclusion here is not fracking caused the outbreak, but also not industrial land use could never matter. It means researchers should examine all potential threats to irrigation water while keeping chemical pollution, bacterial contamination, and proven outbreak evidence clearly separated.
Manure has a more direct connection to bacterial food contamination than fracking does. Cattle and other animals can carry disease causing E. coli without appearing sick. If untreated or improperly composted manure reaches crops, or if rain carries animal waste into an irrigation canal, the bacteria can reach produce.
That does not mean all manure use is unsafe. Proper composting, controlled application, adequate time between application and harvest, and protection of water sources can substantially reduce the risk. The danger comes from failures in those systems.
And the word organic and the word natural, they do not mean bacteria free. Organic certification deals with how food is grown and which substances may be used. It does not guarantee that the product cannot be contaminated by animals, water, workers, equipment, transportation, or processing. The blueberry product in the current recall is organic. The carrots involved in the 2024 outbreak were also organic. So those labels, they don't mean bacteria free. They may matter for other consumer reasons, but they are not substitutes for food safety controls.
The same is true of conventional produce. Synthetic fertilizer does not protect the crop from contaminated irrigation water, wildlife, dirty equipment, or unsafe handling. Food safety depends on the entire production system, not one word printed on the package.
Now, I have to say, I really want us to talk about what consumers need to do. We have to give people clear instructions here. First, the recalled product should not be washed and eaten. Should not be washed and eaten. If the lot number matches the recall, or if the product cannot be identified, throw it away or return it to the store. Clean and sanitize your freezer drawers, your bowls, utensils, and your countertops or other surfaces that the recalled food has touched.
For produce that is not under recall, rinse the fresh fruits and vegetables under clean running water before eating, cutting, or cooking them. Scrub firm produce, including melons and cucumbers, with a clean produce brush. Wash produce even when you do not plan to eat the peel, because a knife can transfer bacteria from the outside to the inside. You really shouldn't use soap or detergent or household bleach directly on food. It's not that good to eat. Drying produce with a clean paper towel or cloth can further reduce surface contamination. Washing reduces bacteria but does not eliminate every organism either.
It's very important to keep fruits and vegetables separate from raw meat, poultry, seafood, and eggs. Use separate cutting boards when possible, and refrigerate all cut produce within 2 hours.
It is important to rewash packaged greens, even if they are labeled pre-washed or ready to eat. Washing must be done carefully. You should do it, but it should be done carefully because washing them in a sink, again in a sink or a bowl, can expose them to bacteria from the kitchen. So you must do it, but just do it carefully. Now that corrects the common idea that a recalled or pre-washed salad is good to eat, because it's not always. If a product is recalled, do not eat it. If it's labeled as ready to eat or pre-washed, still wash it and then follow the package directions.
Consumer precautions are certainly useful, but consumers cannot inspect the irrigation canal, test the processing line, or trace a shipment back to a farm. Prevention requires enforcement of agricultural water standards, sanitation rules, worker training, environmental testing, and rapid reporting when contamination is discovered.
Retailers also need systems that can quickly identify which stores received a particular lot. People should not have to search through vague announcements while potentially dangerous food remains in refrigerators and freezers. Recall notices need clear photographs, brand names, package sizes, lot numbers, dates, and store locations.
Yes, producers should test water and processing environments, maintain equipment, control animal intrusion, supervise composting, and stop distribution when a serious problem is suspected. Government agencies need adequate staff and laboratory capacity to investigate outbreaks quickly. And in the current administration, those people have been cut back and not increased. Traceability requirements are especially important because the same produce may be sold under several different labels. Remember that.
Yes, that's very important to remember. For people in Virginia and the other distribution states, check your freezer for 10-ounce bags of Green Wise or organic frozen blueberries marked with lot code 60,401 and the best buy date of February 9th, 2028. The fact that confirmed illnesses have not yet been reported in Virginia does not mean that the product was never sold there. It was,
And
believe me.
remember, ladies and gentlemen, that Walmart, Kroger, Publix, Foodtown, and Acme and other retailers operate within a shared national food system. A contaminated supplier can affect several brands and several chains.
Hey, Dr. Dineen, and other stores that may have been affected by this are Food Country and Food City.
That does not make every item from these stores unsafe. It means consumers need specific, accurate recall information.
And watch out for severe stomach cramps, bloody diarrhea, vomiting, fever, dehydration, reduced urination, unexplained bruising, or unusual fatigue. Contact a healthcare professional if serious symptoms appear, especially after eating a recalled product. Food safety depends on clean water, responsible farming, sanitary processing, accurate records. effective regulation, and prompt public warnings. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that this has provided you with some useful information.
Yes, and we hope that you will heed this useful information. Be sure to come back and leave a comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next time, folks.
Bye for now.